Welcome, everyone, and thank you again for joining us today. We are going to explore that rich area of business architecture, and this is a catalyst for aligning organizations of all sizes to deliver on their vision, their mission, their objectives, their strategy, and their tactics. When done well, it helps in creating that solid foundation for sustainable transformation across the organization. We are going to look at it from a very practical perspective. And here we leveraging business architecture to drive strategic success. As we dive into the meat of the conversation, first, if you can't hear me, please type in the chat and I'll keep an eye on the chat just to know who can hear me and who cannot hear me. Yeah. And if you have any technical issues, my team is on standby to help you ensure that you can listen to me and follow through with the conversation. We do love you to ask questions throughout, and please use the chat. We will also have time for Q&A at the very end of the session. Today's session is just an hour, and we will have enough time to have Q&A. Yeah. And the webinar would last an hour. So a bit about myself, William Cosina. I've been within the transformation space for the last decade, supporting organizations deliver value and align it to their strategic vision and mission and objectives. Yeah. So the content driving business architecture to help us deliver that particular value. Today, our focus is business architecture acting as a bridge between strategy and implementation and ensuring that the organization is able to what? Deliver its vision and makes it a reality. The focus is most organizations traditionally would say we would have our strategy and it's created and developed in a silo. And it's that area where most folks in the transformation area would say, I've not got an experience in, I've not been involved in creating strategy. But when you are working within the area of business architecture, it changes that. It allows us to start seeing how strategy is shaped from the beginning, and it ensures that we are grounded in a realistic understanding of the business. We now have an informed understanding of the strategic planning from the current state to the future state. We do that by analyzing the capabilities we have, identifying the gaps, and then we can develop strategies that are only not aspirational, but also achievable. And it's because when you find yourself within the enterprise architecture, business architecture space, you become well informed of what the organization is doing, and it empowers you as a leader to be able to support the organization in delivering that strategic objectives into its reality. From strategy development to execution, there is that big gap. And if that big gap it's not well set up with the clear foundations to support the teams involved, we don't see the daylight of the initiatives we want to implement. So if we take a holistic view at that, our organization's success is hinged on a well-defined and a very integrated approach, which will involve operations, new initiatives, and bringing the rest of the organization together. When we spend time with developing the strategy and getting that alignment, it ensures that the entire organization across the whole business and has a shared understanding of what we aim to execute. And it helps at all levels of the organization to drive that strategic agility mindset and helps the teams to adapt and thrive in the case of any dynamic changes within the business environment. There could be changes in the external environment, there could be changes in the internal environment, and there could be geopolitical changes. Taking a holistic view at the architecture, employing enterprise architecture, taking a look at business architecture, data architecture, application architecture, and as well infrastructure architecture, it enables that holistic blueprint to be created looking at all facets of the business from strategy to technology, and it helps us to work in harmony towards delivering the business's outcomes. Business architecture aligns the organization's goals with its capabilities, value streams, and optimizes how the organization operates. Whilst data architecture focuses on the structure and integrates the governance of data and ensures that we have that reliable and accessible asset of data that we can analyze, have insights, and then be able to support with the right decision making across the organization. Whilst our application architecture provides us with the design, integration, and security of our software systems, and it enables the business to operate effectively. Those are the key tools that would enable the business to operate effectively. Finally, our infrastructure architecture lays that foundation of hardware, software, networks, platforms, security measures, and provides that resilient environment for all operational activity. All of this must align with our strategy and a well-formed business architecture, blueprints, a well-formed data architecture, a well-formed infrastructure architecture, and a well-formed applications architecture. Having that good understanding of them would help us develop and deliver our operations effectively, our portfolio initiatives effectively, and also the outcomes that we get over the period, because we've got this blueprint in place, enables the organization to continuously deliver value. But if we focus on business architecture for decision making, what business architecture provides us from the beginning is we have an appreciation of our strategy, and any changes to the strategy informs into our business architecture. Then that also informs into our execution, whether in operations or whether we find ourselves in initiatives. From there, the execution will roll back any updates, any changes back into the architecture, and then it informs the strategy. It's that dynamic, holistic journey that enables the organization to appreciate its development of strategy, its understanding of its enterprise business data application architecture, and with the artifacts in place, we are able to deliver to the expectations of our key stakeholders and our business owners. So it's that gap between strategy and execution, if well put in place, but it requires a holistic view of the enterprise architecture so we deliver value. As a transformation consultant, you are supporting the organization on this journey by making sure that the right framework is put in place to enable decision making across the organization. We've mapped our capabilities, value streams are in place, and with this artifacts in place, we are able to reduce the risk of not delivering against our strategy. And we are also able to have the right informed decisions across the business. Why do we need this strategic alignment? It's crucial for our organization's success. Once we define the strategy, we spend time mapping the architecture. From the current state to the future state, we have that gap analysis that exists. And with a clear understanding of our business architecture, understanding all parts of the organization that is helping us work towards the same goals, we will have that understanding across the organization of our mission and how each role contributes to the success of our transformation. When communicated across the organization, everyone is aligned. Execution then becomes efficient because we've prioritized our initiatives and we become more of an effective organization because we've got our business architecture capabilities well built, we've got our data architecture capabilities in place, we've got our infrastructure and application architecture in place. What are the advantages of implementing business architecture? It serves as an accelerator towards our transformation. With the blueprints in place, we'll have the transformation roadmap and we can go around the business and discuss that transformation roadmap across the business and engage stakeholders to be able to align those stakeholders with the target operating model and appreciation of the future organization. It helps in looking at our initiatives from the first quarter to the second quarter to the third quarter, prioritizing them based on business value, time criticality, and opportunity enablement. And we can link this prioritized initiatives back to the strategic goals, and it enables us to deliver faster and a more effective change across the organization. When we understand our current state and our future state, or our desired future state, that developed roadmap for the transformation minimizes disruption across the business, but rather enables us to deliver and maximize business value. Hence, enterprise architecture, business architecture plays a very key strategic role in enabling our organization to deliver that business value we want to see. At the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, if we don't have a clear understanding of those strategic blueprints, we won't be able to achieve what's expected from us. Is it the silver bullet, or is it all in all we need? We need people to buy in. We need the organization to be well aligned. We need the processes in place. We need technology in place. And a strong, disciplined leadership who are aligned towards delivering that transformation. So I can happily talk about business architecture, but before we go on the journey, we need leaders, the executives, to buy in into the transformation, support it as part of its strategic priorities, and that enables us to deliver the strategic needs of the business for the investors and for the customers. So, how does business architecture play a big role to support leaders? We have 5 key artifacts that we can use for business architecture. And today I'll spend some time on capability maps. And we've touched on value stream in our first session. We've got information maps, we've got business glossary, and then we've got the strategic map. To effectively implement business architecture, these are the key artifacts that every business transformation consultant must have a good appreciation of. Our capability maps defines what the business does. And I will touch more on the capability map. What does the business do? And it gives you an overview instead of seeing the organization in departments, finance, marketing, sales, operations. You appreciate what the business does based on its capability maps. Secondly, value stream shows how value is delivered across the organization. Our customers don't care about the various departments we have. If a customer calls any business, all they want to do or what they want to experience is a call is answered, they've got their value, and they've gone on to their life. Our value stream helps us to show how value is delivered across the organization from the inputs to the various departments and an output for the customer. So, our value stream is a very strong supporting tool for the capability maps. The information maps illustrates how data flows across the organization. And as we say, data is the gold dust of our day today, with the ever need for appreciating artificial intelligence. We need that data to be able to draw insights, to automate repetitive work, and to ensure that across the business we are being more productive and delivering and supporting the organization's value focus. Organizations maps would depict the structure, the roles. We need to know who is in which place. So our organization's map or our um, the hierarchy tells us who sits, where they have to sit, and what are their responsibilities across the organization. A strategy map, like the balance scorecard, would visualize the strategic objectives. In the balance scorecard, we have the vision, mission, and then we have um, the four drivers that support the balance scorecard. We've got finance, we've got a customer, we've got processes, and then we've got learning and growth. We will visualize the strategic objectives across those areas, and they help us appreciate what the critical success factors are, what are the key performance indicators, and which initiatives we need to implement. Bringing these documents together would enable us continuously drive an alignment across the organization and deliver value. A focus on capability maps. Yeah. A capability map is essential for driving strategic alignment across the organization. And like I said, it defines what the business does. It's independent of how it's done. Saying it again, a capability map defines what the business does. It's independent of how it's done. We visualize capabilities and we can identify gaps within the various capabilities and prioritize investments to enable us deliver those capabilities. With a clearly mapped capability map, we can align IT initiatives with business needs, and it will also provide us with a common language for discussing the business's capabilities. So the capability map is an essential artifact. What we start by doing in our capability map exercise is we conduct an inventory of all the organization's key capabilities, speaking to members of various functions within the business so we can have a comprehensive overview of the key activities done within each area of the business. We conduct a RAG assessment of the capabilities and look at our business maturity. So we can look whether a capability is well developed and is functioning so well. We will award it a green. A capability that's not doing so well and needs improvement, we'll give it an amber. And then a capability that requires urgent improvement, we give it a red. That heat map would enable us focus on certain key areas that we want to improve. And it provides us with that opportunity for a gap analysis of what our current state is and what our desired states are based on the strategic objectives. With that common language and discussion being had across the teams and appreciating the capability map of our organization, we can roadmap our initiatives and then prioritize those initiatives for our business transformation. And as we implement the business transformation, that holistic approach continuously plays along. Are we focusing on people? Are we focusing on the organization? Are we focusing on the process? Are we improving the technology? And we can overlay that as well with a holistic view from the enterprise architecture viewpoint. Are we developing the business architecture blueprints? Are we developing the data architecture blueprints? Are we developing the application architecture blueprints? And then are we having in place our infrastructure architecture? So, a brief overview of the steps involved in developing an architecture. One, let's define the purpose and scope of why we are doing this work. With that clear purpose and scope, we can use our terms of reference, our boss card for that particular exercise. This enables us to identify key stakeholders to gather the right information needed. And we need a cross-functional team across the business with the right expertise and having that perspective of that business area to be able to produce a more comprehensive capability map. We will identify the core capabilities and then define the capability levels. We will have level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and it depends on the principles we put in place for implementing that capability map. With a clear definition of the capabilities, we can validate and refine that capability model by assessing the maturity of the organization, whether it's red, amber, or green. Assessing the maturity, we would have conversations again with our key stakeholders, understanding their perspectives and what drives their appreciation of the business capability map. With that visualized capability map in a heat map format, we would then go on to align it with our strategy. We will then go back to our key strategy document of the balance scorecard, or the big 100-page strategy book, focusing on finance. What are our objectives? What are our critical success factors? What are our key performance indicators? And what are the initiatives that would help us deliver those? Our strategic document and our would be going more into detail, but a summarized version of the balance scorecard gives us an opportunity to reflect across the business and be able to and appreciate what's going to happen over the next few months. We would iterate through this process to produce a more robust and useful capability map. It won't be a one-time exercise. It will be an ongoing journey. Yeah. So let's look at a case study. Yeah. So a global financial services firm is faced with regulatory challenges. What do? They have legacy systems and they need to support these legacy systems or the new systems to help enable compliance requirements. The business architecture team is involved in this whole process and they map the regulatory requirements against the capabilities. They design a future state, aligning it with the organization's strategy, and they are enabling the organization on this journey. During implementation, we've brought the project managers, we've brought the teams, and we will have a particular period of implementing this regulatory compliance approach. Architecture will guide a 3-year transformation program, providing it with a roadmap for technology modernization, taking that holistic view of business architecture, what will change from the current state to the target state. Data architecture, what needs to change from the current state to the target state. Looking at our application architecture, what needs to change from the current state to the target state. Technology architecture, what needs to change from the current state to the target state. When implemented effectively, we will have a reduction in compliance cost, and it will enable us have a much faster time to market, delivering new products, because we've now streamed aligned our compliance. Everyone has a full appreciation of the regulatory compliances that are needed. It's being communicated, and we've implemented the change that comes with it because we are well aligned with our architecture blueprints, and it's supporting the future delivery of our organization's strategic objective of being regulatorily compliant. This delivers value when done appropriately, enabled by business architecture. When implementing business architecture, what are the best practices? When an organization starts, it's best to integrate architecture very early. And we can bring on board our enterprise architects, data, technology solutions architects to input into the strategic planning process from day one. And their insights can help us shape the strategy formulation process and inform the execs on what we need to be doing to help us move from the current state to the future state. We are able to overcome resistance because with the business architecture and the enterprise architecture team, we can identify quick wins holistically from a business perspective, a data perspective, a technology perspective. And when we appreciate all these um, inputs, we are able to identify what some tangible benefits are for our transformation, and we are able to build credibility and support across the business. Appreciating our architecture means we are able to align it to our culture. We've got a clear training and appreciation from our leaders who are now thinking architecturally. Yeah. And they are owning the entire process, aligning it with the strategy. So we have a better appreciation of what the organization is doing. However, this is a journey. And as a journey, we wouldn't have that destination overnight. But what we would focus on is creating value by collaborating with key stakeholders and a focus on that continuous improvement. With enterprise architecture in place, we are able to create a more agile, customer centric, and successful organization. But we need to begin the journey together across the organization. And let me inform you, business architecture is not a static deliverable. It's dynamic and it's focused on continuously delivering value and maximizing value for the organization and its customers. Fundamentally, it's about optimizing that value created and delivered. And it's not about just drawing diagrams, the enterprise capability map, the value stream map, the organization map. It's about driving tangible outcomes across the organization and enabling the organization on its journey. It helps us appreciate the business landscape because that is continuously evolving internally and externally. We've seen what has happened across the world with geopolitics. But with business architecture, we are able to be agile, adaptable, and it allows us to implement business agility by being able to respond quickly to changing market conditions and customer demands. Put in place and being agile, we are able to focus on the customer. That customer centric approach of having that design thinking mindset, understanding the needs and pains of the customer is all built in a business architecture approach. It helps us appreciate the customer, create personas, empathy maps, create customer journey maps, and identify great opportunities to enhance value delivery for our customers. Business architecture in itself is a continuous approach, and we will have collaboration across various areas of the business, and it will involve the business leaders. It will also involve all the key stakeholders to enable us deliver that business value across the organization. Yeah. Finally, what does business architecture provide us? What does business architecture provide us? It provides us with that clear strategic alignment and acts as the bridge between strategy and execution. And it guides us on the path to delivering continuous business value. Business architecture and enterprise architecture will provide a framework from translating strategic goals into actionable initiatives across the business. So, what have we been looking at on the business architecture journey? When we embrace business architecture, we are able to focus on value creation. We adapt and achieve business um, goals, and we constantly evolving as an organization to be able to respond to the changing market needs. It's a collaborative and more inclusive exercise. It involves all the IT leaders, the business execs, and bringing all the subject matter experts together to support us on the journey. It involves that continuous improvement, which is seeking feedback on what we've done, what we are doing, and what we should be doing continuously across the business. And finally, it enables us to align our strategy and execution. So, what are the key takeaways from this session? Business architecture would help us put in place the right strategic foundation for delivering our organization's strategy. It starts by establishing a basic capability map, and we'll connect it to our strategic objectives to deliver on our transformation roadmap. So it's an accelerator and an enabler for our transformation. When used properly, we can prioritize our transformation initiative, create alignment to the business vision, and deliver it effectively across the organization. Thank you so much for joining us. And we at Lean Icon Technology continue to support organizations around enterprise agile transformation, digital innovation, and Microsoft implementation. And we are a strong believer, and we support organizations in implementing business architecture ways of working across the organization. We've defined and explained business architecture concepts. We've looked at the strategic alignment of business architecture, and we've looked at some various business architecture models or artifacts that would help us in delivering our strategy. And we've taken a look at a case study to help us appreciate value delivery. Thank you all for joining this evening session. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.